All right, everybody. On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, just a kind of a free-for-all. After the events of the last game with the Avs and the Blues, how are we all feeling a day after? We'll talk about that. We will get into Instagram questions. We had a ton of them. There's no way we can get through all of them, but we'll pick some and discuss them and talk about them, whatever. And something that I wanted to get to was we always joke about the hashtag fire Bednar, and whenever there's a loss, it just seems like that is amplified, and I just think that is totally unfair. And if we get to it, our favorite Ray Liotta movies, because unfortunately, he has passed on. Yeah. So let's get to all of this and then some. It's your Locked On Avalanche podcast.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Avalanche Nation, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show on our YouTube channel over on the YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. All right. Game 6 in St. Louis. We all know the events of Game 5. I don't know about you, man, but I just I haven't taken a loss that hard in quite some time. I feel like, I've lived through a lot of sporting events, so a loss doesn't hit me as hard as the only loss that hits you the worst is the loss when your season is completely over.
Yeah.
Like that loss sucks because you're not going to be able to watch them for a few months. Very rarely do I get kind of down during a regular season loss or a playoff loss. But for this one, I did. I woke up yesterday and I just as soon as I came to and I remembered what happened after my first 30-second haze that I had to wake, you sift through the clouds when you wake up, and it hit me and it's like, oh yeah, that happened. And it just sucks. There's no other way to say it, man. I usually listen to NHL radio on Sirius on my way to work, on my way home from work, and I didn't want to listen to it. I just didn't want to relive it for at least one day. I know down the road I'll be able to listen to things. I just didn't want to relive it. It hurt that bad.
Yeah, I woke up the exact same yesterday. I literally kind of unplugged for a good chunk of the morning. When it came to I knew I was going to get on there and talk to everybody on YouTube and reply to the comments. And I was just like, I'm going to have to relive that game one more time.
Yeah.
And I was just, it was, you really felt it. And I've carried it all day yesterday. Think I'll be okay today. You got Game 6 to look forward to. You kind of pick yourself back up and you're like, you know what? This team is okay. We got good players, but man, that loss, we were right there. And to have it taken away from us in that fashion. Ugh.
Well, it's going to be uncomfortable watching tonight's game because you're going to want them to get back out to that 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You are not, as an Avalanche fan, you're not going to want this game to be close for the duration of the game. Number one, because it's on St. Louis's home ice, so they're going to have the crowd behind them. Not that is everything, clearly, as we just experienced. But you don't want to go through it again because if it's close and you're up again, let's say the Avs are up 3-1, couple minutes left, and St. Louis gets an empty netter with 1.5. Everybody in that arena, from fans to coaches to players, it's human nature. It's just going to run through your head again. Are we going to blow another one?
Yeah.
On the other end of that, it's you have to take silver linings and everything. You have to take positives in anything and everything. And every single playoff game, you can take a positive front. And I kind of commented on that in one of the Instagram questions. So I think the Avs will be better prepared if that were to happen again. if the game plays out in a similar fashion and you are in the lead and you're protecting that lead in the third period, you know the Avalanche are going to play a different game. They are not going to be on their heels in full defense mode like they were. It's not going to happen.
The Avs, they got away with it in the regular season, taking their foot off the gas, and we were kind of accustomed to it because we've seen it countless times in the regular season. But they have to understand this is the playoffs, and the Blues are on the brink of elimination. If you take their foot off the gas, guess what? St. Louis is going to keep going. If you don't get to roll over and die and get them in the next game, it's all or nothing for St. Louis. If you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And that's what happened in Game 5. In Game 6, okay, we can't coast. Even if we have this locked up, we can't coast because they will come back. And this is something you learn from. You can't get away with things you got away with in the regular season because we said this 100,000 times. Playoff hockey is different than regular season hockey. Just ask Florida.
Yeah. And the season is on the line for the Blues. It has been from here on out. Mm-hmm. From the last game on out, that's how they're going to play. For the Avs, your season's not on the line yet, but you don't want it to get to that point. You want to put them away. So, if you want to look at it as, the Avs learned from that, I think you better hope that they did. And I think that they will. And if you're in that situation again, you're not going to see what you saw in Game 5. I can almost guarantee that. But I just want them to be in that position. I don't want them to be the team that's behind and they're the ones who have to pull the goalie and try to tie this thing up, because it's just, and then if they do lose this game, you are going to get so many, questions and there's people already saying Game 6 is the season.
Yeah.
They're already saying Game 6 is the season, saying if they don't win Game 6, you might as well not even play Game 7. And I'm sitting there like, really? Like, you're going back home? Like,
I've already seen YouTube comments where there's fans jumping off the bandwagon right now saying, well, I've seen this too many times. I can't do this again. We'll see you again next season. And I'm perplexed and baffled at those comments. I'm just like, there are more games to play here. Like, just come on. Just write it out.
You are not going to breeze through this thing.
No.
You know what I mean? So all the momentum is on St. Louis' side, clearly. But it was on their side when they won Game 2 in Denver, going back to St. Louis. And what happened? The Avs took both of those games.
Yep.
So, it's you see this all the time. That the media and fan reaction always gears itself towards who won the last game.
Yeah.
And I get that. But you have to take into account the team that lost is pretty ticked off that they lost.
Yeah.
And they are going to change. They're going to make their changes. We've been saying this entire series is like, you have to make adjustments. And we'll get into that because a lot of people are upset with Jared Bednar. And that always seems to be the go-to argument is blame the coach.
Yeah.
And I don't go that far. I mean, what happened in Game 5 is a complete collapse from everybody on down. We'll get to Bednar in a minute. I don't want to get to him now, but I just feel like we've seen this play out already in this series where St. Louis beat you at home.
Yeah.
I think it's just the fashion in which the Avalanche lost, just complete meltdown, is what people are focusing on. And I can't fault them for that, because that kind of thing gets in your head as a player. And it might, again, if the opportunity or the situation is similar for Game 6, it's going to play through their head. They got to fight through that, but that's just the reality of the situation.
We talked about it multiple times, like there's no way the media is going to cover this series. And now they are. And now that the media is looking at this Avalanche Blues series, the game that they're focusing on, that had all the storylines, everything going into it, they're saying, what an epic collapse from the Colorado Avalanche. This is the Colorado Avalanche's opportunity to define the narrative, take it back, show them what you're made of. Are you what the media is now calling like an epic collapse? Like, after Nathan McKinnon did everything for your team, you collapse and you leave him out to dry like that? Or are you the team that had a perfect January, was in the running for the President's Trophy, superstar laden lineup? Like, who are you?
All of that goes out the window if they let this season go, or this series go. You know what I mean? And that is what this season will be known as.
Yep.
That game.
Yep.
And everybody will look back and say that's where it went down, and they couldn't overcome it. They need to overcome it.
Yep.
And I have all the confidence that this team can. I genuinely do. I think because of they still remember their early exits. No, this loss just adds to all of those previous second round exits and all of the motivation. It's just piled on top of the mountain of motivation for them. It has to be. It has to be.
And the words of the wise prophet, Danny Elfman and Oingo Boingo, who do you want to be today? Who do you want to be?
Love it. So, all right, let's hear from Athletic Greens, and then we will get to the Jared Bednar conversation. And I just did some quick math in my head. I think I'm right here. And with Avalanche fans, with every loss, just going crazy and just wanting to throw in the towel, like we were saying. Compared to other teams, there's interesting stat. It's not like I'm not breaking like the bank here with this stat. It's just like I don't think it's just something people have really thought of.
Ooh, Chris Maselli's stats.com.
Yeah, no, I don't charge. It's free of charge. It's not too deep. All right, but first, Athletic Greens. Kyle and I have been talking about this stuff for a couple months now, and I had to take some Athletic Greens today because I knew my gut was not going to be feeling well for most of the day. So I wanted to test the Athletic Greens. We know that it's good for things like your recovery and your focus and your energy and your immune system. And I genuinely needed that because I was telling myself I was going to be down for most of the day. Let me get some Athletic Greens in me so I don't feel that way. I think it helped. I'm not going to lie. I think it helped a little bit.
I took Athletic Greens for the same reason this morning because my gut did not feel great. I was like, you know what? It's time to dose some Athletic Greens this morning, and I felt a lot better.
I put Athletic Greens to the test because was not happy this morning. So, but it seems to work. And with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source superfoods and probiotics to help you start your day right. Athletic Greens was created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up on a complicated supplement routine to recover, and it cost him over $100 a day. But it costs you just less than $3 a day, and you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew and coffee habit. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day, and that is it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Once again, it's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, quickly, I just wanted to bring this up because, whenever there's, like we were just saying, whenever there's a loss in Avalanche Nation, regular season or postseason, it's, doom and gloom. Postseason, it gets amplified. So far, the teams that are left in the playoffs, the Carolina Hurricanes, I believe that game has gone final.
It has.
We're recording this. It has. So they have lost in these playoffs 5 games because they went 7 games against Boston and they've lost 2 to New York. So they've lost 5. Tampa, even with their sweep, they went 7 games against Toronto. They've lost 3 games. Calgary, they went 7 games against Dallas, so they lost 3. They've lost 3 to Edmonton. They've lost 6 games, Calgary. The Rangers have lost now 6 games. 3 to Carolina, 3 to who they play in the first round? Pittsburgh. Edmonton, they went the distance in their first series against LA, and they've lost 1 to
Calgary.
Calgary,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So they've lost a total of 4.
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado Avalanche have lost 2. 2 games in these playoffs the Colorado Avalanche have lost. That's better than everybody, including Tampa, who swept the Florida Panthers.
And I was homeschooled in Alabama, and I could follow that logic.
There you go. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
you're going to lose games, and the Avalanche have only lost twice in these playoffs, and we are throwing in the towel. Stop. It sucked the way that they lost. I get it. You don't want to lose that way. You had it in your pocket, and it was let go. And one of the other things that people tend to do during these losses is want to throw a ton of blame on Jared Bednar. To me, I'm sorry, but I look at the guys on the ice.
Yeah.
He is not on the, he can only dictate to them what he wants to happen. And I'm not saying, I don't know, because we're not on the bench. I don't know if what he told them is how they played. I can't imagine Bednar was sitting there and because he's watching it happen, that, that the Blues are they're engaging and they are forcing the issue. You knew that was going to happen. I don't believe Jared Bednar is just sitting there and saying, like, well, I wanted you to play this style. Let's continue to play that style.
Yeah.
Like, when you make changes, it's not sweeping changes. It's small little details here and there, a line change here or there. Yeah, like, did they play too much defense? Yes. And I don't think that's Jared Bednar's fault. I genuinely don't. Like, if the guys on the ice need to perform in the end. I always put it on the players before I put them. I'm not saying I'm not blaming him at all. I'm just saying I don't put him as high as who's on the ice, because those are the ones that dictate the game.
Yeah, like, you can't. I don't understand. I know, I actually do. Sam Girard is injured, so we have to yell at somebody, and I guess it's going to be Jared Bednar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always when we lose. And it's like the last time we had the Kindle article come out, and now it's Jared Bednar doesn't know what he's doing. We were like, I think it was 90 seconds away from the Western Conference Finals. And
in the last game?
Yes.
We were 53 seconds away. We
53.
were less than a minute. Less than a minute.
And I could guarantee you there would have been fanfare, little babies named Jared, because he finally got us past the second round. We are in the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2002. This is my puppy dog, Jared. I named it after the greatest coach in Avalanche history. Mm-hmm. And in 53 seconds, now he's the worst coach. He's terrible. And yet we were all complaining that he didn't get the Jack Adams. And now he's terrible. Help me here.
Yeah, no,
why?
It's because of the. Like, if they had pulled that game out, we wouldn't be having these comments thrown around. We would be saying things differently. Like, man, the Avalanche really hung on there, and the Blues gave them everything. And look how the Avalanche stood tall and block shot, or whatever the case may be, to get through to that game. Give credit to the Blues for putting up their best effort, but the Avalanche hit them back.
Yeah, you would have said that top line beat the St. Louis Blues because that was the only line performing in that whole game. Yeah. You would have said the Avalanche are so good that top line was good enough to beat the St. Louis Blues playing an actual hockey game. And that's not what happened, so of course now we're going to blame Bednar.
And we've talked about it many times where he's made some of those small changes along the way, and they have worked. Mm-hmm. And we've done episodes where it's like, you give him the credit for that. He sees some matchups, he makes some adjustments pre-game in terms of roster, and they've worked. This was just for what happened. Like, I think you have to completely put the players on the ice at the top of that list of a collapse like that. And, you say it all the time, how he's like a player's coach in that he lets his players, run the show to an extent, obviously, that he has trust in his players. The guys on the ice knew what was happening. They didn't need to turn to Jared Bednar and be like, what do we do, coach? Help
Yeah.
us. They know what they had to do. They just couldn't stop it. So
And
that's just the fault of everybody from the top on down.
you heard that from Kale McCarr when he talked about Nathan McKinnon's performance. He said, like, that's playoff Nate, and we let him down. Like,
Yeah.
they know what happened. You don't hear the players talking about, well, if coaching was this or leadership was that. No, that's the fans saying Jared Bednar, he doesn't know what he's doing. The Avs know they let the Avs down, and Nathan McKinnon most of all. They know what happened. Like, there's no way Bednar put him in a situation to lose. And for the last 53 seconds, he didn't.
And that's a good point. That the Kale McCarr comments about genuinely feeling like Nate. I think he said something to the effect of like Nate put all of us on his back, and we let him down. That is another thing that you can add to the motivation factor. That's more immediate.
Yeah.
All the things that happen for the past couple of years in the second round, that's still in the back of their minds for the players that have been here for that long. But letting down Nathan McKinnon after that performance, that just happened.
Yeah.
So that's more fresh than what happened a couple of years ago with, in all these second round exits. So all of it is just, fuel for the fire that they should come out with in this game. All right, let's get to, we got Bet Online, and then we'll get to some Instagram stuff, questions that were on Instagram, including any changes that should be made. That seems to be the question when a loss happens and you have the depth of the Avs. Do you bring in guys? Obviously, everybody's going to be thinking of Burkovsky. Is he going to be back? We'll discuss that after Bet Online, and our partners over at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all of your betting sports info. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, the NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next year's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. So head to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. It's betonline.net, where the game starts. All right, Instagram. You always get more after a loss. People are more vocal after a loss. So you're getting a lot of what changes need to be made. Do we make any? Does Andre Burkovsky come back? This is all matchup related, obviously. And if Jared Bednar feels like there's a better matchup, I think he's going to go with it. But they had this game in their hands. You can't forget the fact they were 53 seconds away from winning this game. So do you make sweeping changes because of that? I don't think you do, but I'm not saying you don't bring Burkovsky back.
Yeah, I was about to say, insert Bugs Bunny meme here. No. I honestly, no Berkey. No. And honestly, let's be real here. Berkey has 3 points. Newhook has 1. What are you what sweeping change and what difference is this going to make? Newhook is, honestly, if you're putting the two against each other, you want Newhook and his skill and his speed and his play. We talk about Berkey being invisible and shooting wide of the net. Why are we going back to Berkey?
Well, like we've always said, because of that potential. Like, you want to get him when he's hot and he's so streaky. You have to go with the ups and downs. You can't do that in the playoffs. And Burkovsky's played a lot more games than Newhook has. So I don't know. Like,
Manson has more points than Burkovsky. Like, I'm talking like Berkey is down at the bottom of the playoff points. It's what you're not getting much of a difference.
But is it one of those things where he rises to the occasion? It's a chance.
When has he all playoffs?
I'm not denying that. But would you rather have? Who would he replace? If you're bringing Burkovsky back, who's he replacing? It's probably going to be someone like Cogliano, Abe Kubel.
Now that you have a conversation. Abe Kubel is sitting there with Jack Johnson with 0 playoff points. Abe Kubel is not doing anything. That makes sense to make that little swap. Cogliano has the lone shorthanded goal on the team so far in the playoffs. So Cogliano, honestly, he's doing okay. He's out there blocking shots. He's being a grinder. Like, I like him. If you had to move anyone off the roster we have right now, I think Abe Kubel is the one you move. And
yeah, because I like the way Darren Helm is playing. He's not showing up on the stat sheet, but that's not what he's there for. You know,
he's everywhere.
He's a hustle guy. So I don't move him. I don't know. It's so tough because I know the matchups are a big thing, but do you go with the best roster for like offensive power, like offensive production? And if you put Burkovsky in there, it's so weird because like you would think normally that you would lose out on some defense, but that's been the best part of his game in these playoffs.
Yeah.
He's improved his defense. But can he handle a fourth line assignment where it's a little bit more, greasier in fourth lines, a little bit grittier, and that's not his game. So
he's got fourth line production. So if that's how you're going to play, that's where you're going to stay.
I know, but it's, he's not a hitter or anything like that. So will he get thrown around there? I don't know. I don't see it happening. I will say that.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like Bednar is looking at this like we were this close to winning the game. So we just have to make adjustments for that and we'll be okay. So I don't see it happening. Some people are asking if they should put in Pavel Francouz, and that that's not going to happen. They are riding with Darcy Kemper. He had a bad game. You don't want a bad game in the playoffs, but bad games are going to happen.
We were just talking about how bad we felt waking up and the day after. Why in the world would you let Darcy Kemper sit and stew a little bit more and let Frankie go out there and possibly send this team to the Western Conference Final and then expect Darcy to be fine and hunky-dory in the next round? No. Let that goalie go back out there, make up for that game. He's gotten us this far. Let's go all the way with him.
Yep. A lot of people are concerned about the second round. Is this like a curse? Sport curses are fun to talk about, but in reality, they don't exist. It's more of getting in the heads of the players. I think they're using it as motivation. I don't think the Avs are not sitting back and say, they're not throwing in the towel and just saying like, I guess we can't get through the second round. No, they're and you heard Nathan McKinnon say it. He's like, we wanted this so bad. Like that was his quote. We wanted this so bad. So there's every reason there for them to come out exactly how they've come out in most of these games against the Blues.
Yeah. So, I don't believe in a second round curse. Like that did not pop in their heads in the last 53 seconds. Come on.
Good, better, Befs. Just put up on there. Any changes? That's me. And I say changes and not of the personnel, but in the style of play. And I'm going back to it. Like, I don't think so. I don't think you need to make massive changes in your style of play, with the exception of how you approach the end of that game. Everything else, play the same style of game. The Blues have a tough time hanging with you at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
You have been in control of this series at 5-on-5. So don't take stupid penalties. Stay out of the penalty box, obviously. Make them play you 5-on-5. Throw shots on net. Just do everything the same. And then if you can build that lead up again, don't just go prevent defense.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
You go 100 miles an hour all game long. Do not stop. Like miracle style. Again. That's how you want to keep scoring. Like, do not stop.
Yeah. Some people want our predictions. So I said, the way that the Avs lost doesn't change my thinking or my thought process on will this affect them going forward. I don't think it will. It happened. You had Thursday to reflect on it, and Friday it's in the rearview mirror. I don't think you're going to see an Avalanche team come out and play flat and have like this hangover from that collapse. So I think that they are going to be ready to go. I think Bednar is going to have them ready to go, and they're going to come out just like they have in every other game this series. And I said I fully believe that they can win this game. And
5-2.
I said 4-2.
5-2.
You know what? We'll be in unison. I think it'll be 4-2. They'll get an empty netter from Gabe Landeskog beyond the center ice line. This time he sends it home 5-2. So all right,
we'll do it.
So yeah, and the good thing about this is I told people, just use this as like an outlet to say, there were people just not asking questions, just venting. So I appreciate you doing that. And we did have one person ask what's up with Kale. Is there anything up with Kale? And do we think that Kemper's eye is affecting him? I don't think anything is up with Kale McCarr. I think he's just going up against a better team.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more difficult to do the things that he wants to do against a good team. That's the playoffs. During the regular season, you'll play a good team, and then you'll play a medium team, a middle of the pack team, and then a bottom feeding team. And that's when players like him like feast. But you get graded against what you do in the playoffs against these upper echelon teams. I don't think he's playing poorly. I genuinely don't. It's just, this is the playoffs. It's difficult to, and then you have someone like Connor McDavid, who's just proving me wrong right now, but nobody's Connor McDavid. I don't. I think Kale McCarr is just fine, but you do want to see him step up, just like Nathan McKinnon the other day. And as far as Darcy Kemper goes, I don't think there's anything wrong with the eye.
Nope, nothing wrong.
No.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Darcy Kemper and Kale. It's Kale McCarr. He's not trash. Like he's just a little frustrated. Like that's about it. Like he's not like this St. Louis team is playing him different than a team he's faced really in a while. So if you have to face that night in, night out, like, yeah, it's going to get a little frustrating and you're not playing your game your way, but he's going to be fine. It's Kale McCarr.
Yeah, I think, once we get out on the ice, if they start well, that's, you're going to be looking at those first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Those first 5 minutes, if they're not flat-footed, it looked like they don't have tired legs, which I can't imagine that they would. If you can get a goal in those first 5 minutes, awesome. You don't want to give one up. Nope. That is huge. I mean, you don't want to give a first goal at any point in the game, but that crowd's going to be raucous. And then if you let one in the first couple of minutes, it's just going to amplify even more.
Yep.
And they'll be okay if that happens. You got the whole game to come back, but it's just, you don't want to get off on a bad start, obviously. All right. Well, before we wrap up, we kind of sometimes will discuss some fun things in movies, and obviously we do our soundtrack with music and things like that. So, got the news that Ray Liotta passed away. So he's a legend. He's a legend. And I figured we would kind of throw out some of our favorite movies from Ray Liotta, not named Goodfellas, because that's
the easy one.
That's everybody's favorite, but he's been in so much stuff. And the best thing about Ray Liotta is he crosses genres. He's not just a mob boss. Like, he can do that. He can do comedy. He can do drama. He was an all around awesome actor, and it sucks that he's gone. And I think he was filming a movie. I think they said he died in his sleep, but he was on set of a movie. Yep. He was still acting. So you got some favorites from Ray Liotta?
Like, honestly, Ray Liotta, and it's just the way I grew up. My granny had this movie on VHS, and we watched it all the time. Operation Dumbo Drop.
Dude, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he can do that. He can play Henry Hill and murder people for the mob, and then play like a comedy role. He had a cameo scene in Muppets from Space.
That's right.
Which, if you haven't seen Muppets from Space, it's a hilarious movie.
It's a great movie.
5-second clip, and he was great in it. So yeah, Operation Dumbo Drop is a great one. Didn't they do a sequel to that? because Operation Dumbo Drop is based on a true story.
Yes.
And I think they did a sequel that was just conjured up. I don't think it was.
I think it was Mighty Joe Young, but they did that too.
Was it? I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But any others that you got from him?
Oh, absolutely. And the number one, like a game that like defined my childhood, Grand Theft Auto Vice
God.
City.
Yeah.
He was the voice of your lead character. So.
What was the name of that guy? Was it Nico or something? Was it Nico?
That was GTA 4.
That was okay. That was
Cousin. Let's go bowling. That's GTA 4. What was his name? I want to say it was like Vic or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. What a game.
But he had like the Hawaiian shirt and like, that game, the real estate.
What a game.
All about real estate.
There's three of them, obviously, other than Goodfellas that I want to throw out. One is Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe Jackson. I mean, everybody thinks of Kevin Costner in that movie, but a young like Ray Liotta playing him, it was great. So, I mean, one of the best baseball movies ever made, one of the best sports movies ever made.
It really is.
That he played in a movie with Jason Patric called Narc.
Yes,
which is a
great
fantastic movie. One of those movies where it's like the kind of like a twist ending. You don't really kind of know where it's going, but it's one of the ending is just you're thinking about it for hours after you watch it. So go check out Narc. And then he filmed the movie at my hometown of Schenectady, New York. Little Schenectady, New York. They filmed a movie in Schenectady. The movie is about the police department of Schenectady, and they filmed it in Schenectady. That doesn't happen a lot. Sometimes they'll film in New Mexico, and it'll be about the Schenectady police. Like they filmed the entire thing in the city. He's in it, but it's called Place Beyond the Pines. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie or not.
I don't think I have.
It's really, really good. And I'm not just saying it because it was filmed in my hometown, but he's in it. Bradley Cooper's in it. Ryan Gosling's in it. What's her name? Eva Mendes is in it. I'm going through the people now. There's so many people that are in it.
Wow.
And it's really, really, really good movie. Check it out. It's like 3 different stories all kind of come together at one. It's all very
like
very
Seinfeld.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not a comedy. Definitely not a comedy. But check it out. And he's in it. He's in it for like he's one of the crooked cops. So great movie. Sad that he's gone, but a lifetime of work to go back and watch. And Goodfellas is on like every weekend on like TNT or something like that. So
it's Shawshank Redemption and then Goodfellas.
Yeah, pretty much. So all right, everybody. Let's all hope for good things tonight. Let's put Game 5 behind us. Look forward to Game 6. The Avs can do this. Let's not just throw in the towel and say that was gonna change their mindset. Nope, they can absolutely do this. So we will be here to talk about it. I think pretty sure we're going to do a recording after the episode for a Saturday release because this is big stuff. So we'll be back on Friday.
And doing the Twitter space during the game as well. If you'd like to get in there and commiserate with other Avalanche fans, follow us on Twitter and join the space.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Go check out Locked On NHL for your second listen of the day. Get caught up on everything that's going on around the league. And until tomorrow, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.